Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sends a condolence message to the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, following the Russian airline crash. The President of the Republic receives the senior advisor to the U.S. President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East, Massad Boulos. The President of the Republic receives the ambassador of the Tunisian Republic to Algeria, Ramdan Al Fayed, as part of a farewell visit at the end of his mission in Algeria. The humanitarian aid distribution operations in Gaza are still dangerous as the Zionist entity keeps targeting civilians waiting for food. Welcome back. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sent a condolence message to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, in which he said, "Excellency Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, it is with deep sadness that I learned the news of the Russian airliner crash in the city of Tinda that cost the lives of 49 people. In this painful circumstance, I address to you, on behalf of the Algerian people and government, as well as on my own behalf, my most saddened condolences and the expression of my deep compassion and solidarity with the friendly Russian people, through you to the families of the victims. By reiterating my condolences, please accept, Mr. President, the expression of my highest consideration." The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received this Sunday the senior advisor to the U.S. President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East, Massad Boulos, who is leading a high-level delegation. The audience was held, on the Algerian side, in the presence of the Director of the Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem, the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, the advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of diplomatic affairs, Ammar Abba, and Algeria's ambassador to Washington, Sabri Boukadoum. The U.S. delegation included the Chief of Staff to the Senior Advisor to the American President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East, David Linfield, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Joshua Harris, and the U.S. Ambassador to Algiers, Elizabeth Moore-Aubin. Following this meeting, the Senior Advisor to the U.S. President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East reaffirmed the strength of the relations between Algeria and the United States and expressed the will of his country to reinforce them in several sectors. We'll listen to his statement.
I have the great honor of being here in Algeria on behalf of President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to strengthen the partnership between the United States and Algeria. This relationship is of paramount importance to the United States, and I want to express my deep gratitude for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to me. I reaffirm with President Tebboune the strong ties that unite the United States and Algeria, and we expressed our firm commitment to strengthen our cooperation, including trade, security, and other areas. I also shared with President Trump's vision for cooperation to achieve common interests, establishing peace, defeating terrorism, securing our borders, and promoting fair trade that benefits both Americans and Algerians in a spirit of mutual respect and dialogue.
وذلك في إطار من الاحترام المتبادل والحوار.
Massad Boulos affirmed that his country aspires for more joint efforts to face the challenges in the Sahel region to reinforce peace and stability.
I had the honor of listening attentively to President Tebboune's remarks on the major challenges facing Africa and the region in general, as well as the many opportunities that lie ahead. We look forward to strengthen our joint efforts to address the challenges in the Sahel region and working together for peace and stability. I also want to thank Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf for his warm welcome. Today, we deeply appreciate our continued dialogue as we collaborate on some of the world's most complex issues, particularly during the Algerian crisis. As members of the United Nations Security Council, we share common interest in a more peaceful and stable world. I also discussed with the President and the Foreign Minister the immense opportunities for strengthening commercial cooperation between the United States and Algeria, particularly in the energy sector and other areas. This visit has been extremely enriching, and I look forward to explore avenues of joint cooperation for a shared and peaceful future. Thank you again for your hospitality.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Sunday in Algiers the ambassador of the Tunisian Republic to Algeria, Ramdan Al-Fayed, who paid him a farewell visit at the end of his mission in Algeria. The meeting was marked by the presence of the Director of the Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem, and the advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of diplomatic affairs, Ammar Abba. We listen to the ambassador of the Tunisian Republic to Algeria, Ramdan Al-Fayed.
I had the honor of being received by His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune as I conclude my mission in Algeria and prepare to return to Tunisia. On this occasion, I conveyed to His Excellency the fraternal greetings of the President of the Tunisian Republic, Kais Said, as well as his wishes for progress and prosperity for the Algerian government and people. I also extended to President Tebboune the Tunisian President's congratulations on the occasion of Algeria's Independence Day, wishing him prosperity and well-being, as well as all the Algerian people. I took the opportunity to express my gratitude and thanks to all the Algerian authorities for the support and assistance I received during my mission, which contributed to strengthen and further develop bilateral cooperation between Tunisia and Algeria. I also reaffirmed in the same context the special attention paid by President Kais Said and the Tunisian authorities to Tunisian-Algerian cooperation and their constant desire to raise this relationship to the highest level in accordance with the aspirations of the two peoples and the leaders of the two countries. I can't fail to take this opportunity to express my thanks to the Algerian media as well as to several journalist friends for the support and attention I received during my stay in Algeria, particularly with regard to the promotion of Tunisian-Algerian cooperation project. I wish everyone every success. In conclusion, I thank everyone. I had an excellent time in Algeria, which I consider one of the best professional experiences, and I hope that Tunisian-Algerian relations will continue to develop and prosper.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, carried out a partial reshuffle within the ranks of the Presidents of Judicial Councils, public prosecutors, Presidents of Courts and State Governors at the administrative courts. This action included the transfer of 9 Presidents of Judicial Councils and 6 public prosecutors, the promotion of 14 judges to the rank of President of Judicial Council or Public Prosecutor, and the end of duties of 6 Presidents of Judicial Councils, including the President of the Algiers Judicial Council, who was assigned other duties, and 6 public prosecutors. It also included the transfer of 7 Presidents of Administrative Courts and 6 State Governors, the promotion of 27 judges to the position of President of an Administrative Court or State Governor, and the end of duties of 9 Presidents of Administrative Courts and 9 State Governors. The senior advisor to the U.S. President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East was received by the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf. On this occasion, the State Minister held a meeting with Mas'ad Boulos that was later on extended to the members of the delegations of the two countries, which allowed the review of the various aspects of the Algerian-American relations and find a way to strengthen them. The two sides hailed the strategic dialogue between Algeria and the United States and the positive dynamic of the bilateral partnership in several vital sectors such as defense, energy, agriculture, higher education and scientific research. They also highlighted the coordination level between the two countries at the Security Council of the United Nations and exchanged points of view regarding the main current affairs on the African continent, especially on the situation in Libya, Western Sahara, in the Sahel region and in Africa in general. The Minister of State, Minister of Energy and Mines and Renewable Energy, Mohamed Arqab received the senior advisor to the U.S. President for Africa, Arab Affairs and Middle East, Mas'ad Boulos, to discuss the Algerian-American relations that are going on a positive dynamic. On this occasion, Arqab highlighted the importance of the collaboration between the Algerian and the American companies in the sector of hydrocarbons. He also mentioned the exemplary partnership between Sonelgaz and General Electric in the local production of energy equipment. On his side, Mas'ad Boulos expressed the interest of his country to reinforce the cooperation relations with Algeria, especially in hydrocarbons, renewable energy, and the exploitation of mining resources. Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion, Kamal Zik, participates to the works of the second UN Food Systems Summit in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, until the 29th of July, under the slogan Sustainable Food Systems to Eradicate Hunger. The participation of Algeria reflects the country's devotion under the guidance of the President of the Republic to support the international efforts aiming to create sustainable food systems to face the increasing challenges related to food security, climate change, and global economic mutations. The Zionist genocide is still ongoing in Gaza. At least 13 Palestinians were murdered this Sunday, including 2 babies, and others were injured after the Zionist forces targeted people waiting for humanitarian aid in several areas of the enclave. The hospitals are still unable to treat everyone. 6 people, including 2 children, died because of famine in the last 24 hours. 87 children died of starvation. 900,000 children in Gaza suffer from famine, and 70,000 of them are in a state of severe malnutrition. In France, Bruno Retailleau, the Interior Minister, is increasingly seen as the face of a dark political era by targeting minorities and weakening the social cohesion. Details with Daniel Bahri.
From the heart of Paris, the lights no longer hide the shadows of hatred adopted by Retailleau, who has emerged as one of the key architects of political extremism and far-right discourse in France. His inflammatory speeches and radical policies have transformed his ministry into a tool of fear and exclusion, feeding into radical bias and systematic discrimination.
C'est-à-dire qu'il entraîne notre pays dans une course-poursuite.
In a political race with the far-right National Rally, Retailleau seems desperate to take off a checklist of reactionary measures, none of which improve the national situation. They do nothing to enhance public safety, but instead ignite new social fires. It's easy to spark new debate about the headscarf. It's easy to talk about increased surveillance in places like Gare du Nord, where racial profiling becomes standard. He leads a republic that seems to stumble at every turn, haunted by ghosts of its own making. Retailleau has turned public institutions into mere instruments of propaganda, a mirror to justify policies that seek to drag France back into an era of fear and isolation. You declared that you were tired of being accused of so-called racism, but Mr. Retailleau, you are the Minister of the Interior. Your role is to fight racism, not perpetuate it. Yet last week you dared say what you did, while France had just been condemned by the European Court of Human Rights for racial profiling. Mr. Retailleau, that means racism has been proven in court.
Ça veut dire qu'il y a eu donc du racisme.
When those meant to protect unity become agents of division, the Republic loses more than trust. It loses its soul. Retailleau's words don't safeguard France, they stain it.
At the South Africa Summit, African leaders expressed their strong support to the Sahrawi self-determination and called for joint efforts to end Morocco's occupation of Western Sahara. Najah Tayyar.
Only the free defend freedom and only heroes defend the revolution. Words by Nelson Mandela that remain etched in the memory. From here, from South Africa, the land of the free, Nelson Mandela's descendants continue on the same path, firmly believing that freedom is invisible and that oppressed peoples are destined to triumph. The convening of the African Liberation Movement Summit in Johannesburg reflects the strong spirit and deep commitment to defending human rights and embodies South Africa's journey toward achieving them. South African President and leader of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, affirmed during his speech to the summit participants the right of the Sahrawi people and South Africa's solidarity with their cause. The Liberation Movement Summit is not just a conference. It can be described as a return home. It is a gathering of liberation movements rooted in a shared history of struggle and bound by a long tradition of resistance. Our movements were formed together in the battlefields against colonialism, and today we must rise again together in the fire of a new struggle. In Western Sahara, the Sahrawi people continue their struggle for freedom and self-determination, yet these same colonial powers and neo-colonial forces still support the Moroccan occupation with military, financial and technological means. The occupier continues to hold our land, repress our people and plunder our natural resources, thus obstructing peace efforts led by the African Union and the United Nations. We, the Polisario Front, meanwhile continue our struggle on all fronts and with all means available. The final statement of the Liberation Movement Summit included a section dedicated to the Western Sahara issue and the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination. It was signed by 6 liberation movements representing ruling parties and liberation fronts in equatorial Africa. Western Sahara and other regions continue to face unlawful colonial occupation and unilateral sanctions. We condemn crimes against humanity and reaffirm our support for the people of the Western Sahara. This marks another victory in the record of Africa's last colony. Despite all the Moroccan occupation's attempts to distort the cause, the struggle continues to move forward, gaining increase in support and backing, both across Africa and globally.
Over 50 children and dozens of adults swam from Morocco to Ceuta in rough conditions, as captured by a Spanish TV channel. Meanwhile, 8 Mohammed residents protest poor living conditions. Najah Tayyar once again.
Between the waves and the brutality of the Maghsan, a painful truth emerges on the Mediterranean coast. This time, the image speaks louder than the official denials, and dozens of Moroccan children swam toward Ceuta, fleeing a reality of poverty, oppression and neglect, a scene captured by a Spanish TV channel. In Ait Mohammed and nearby villages, the citizens marched on foot demanding water, health care and dignity. We are begging you for water. This is a crime. We are forgotten. As you see, we are suffering from thirst. The water sources we counted on exist no more, and we've been told that it needs long time to be fixed. This march broke the long silence of the neglect and shattered the wall of forgetfulness surrounding rural areas that have no voice. This is Morocco today. The children flee it, risking their lives by crossing the sea, while its citizens suffer from thirst and hunger as the Maghsan spends millions and offers sacrifices to appease and please the Zionists.
And with this, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.